What is going on, everybody? Long time no see. I know it's only been a couple hours, but like I said earlier, had a few things to take care of around the house. Wanted to work out, wanted to get some lunch, but we are back for the preview of the match, tomorrow's match in the Premier League, as United prepare to host Kieran McKenna's Ipswich Town in yet another reunion with our former assistant coach. Could be set for another reunion as well in the form of Axel Tuanzebe if he is fit and ready to go. Ruben Amorim and Manchester United, we are struggling for points at the moment. And in any other season, under any other circumstances, in any other context, this might have been the closest we could have been to a guaranteed 3 points, right? Ipswich are struggling, in under normal circumstances, United should be flying. It's just not the case. 18th place, 3-win Ipswich Town versus Manchester United, right? It seems like a sure thing. It's just not going to happen right now. Under normal circumstances, we might have also said that about Everton, though. So, yep, that's where we are. But today, obviously, we're going to preview the match as we always do. We're going to look at how both teams are doing, how they might line up, what we can expect to see, and then, obviously get your predictions for the score, for the lineups, and how I think we should best set ourselves up to counterattack what Ipswich are going to do. So, hit the like button, subscribe. Check out the membership perks if you get a second to learn how you can have a say, like I've been saying, like how you can have a say in the content and everything we discuss on the channel. Go check out my poll to get involved in my FC25 manager career mode on what positions I should target for my summer window. Manchester United, I am starting with a live star point mid-February, so we're going to be looking ahead to the summer, working with the injuries in the squad we have at the moment and build from there. So get involved in that, help me prioritize positions, and get in your suggestions for players as well. We are on the road to 3K too, so please subscribe if you are new. We'll start with a little bit of news, and we're going to jump into the match because, of course, as is wont to happen, as soon as I'm done with my earlier news show, there's a bit of news that broke, and it wasn't anything we weren't expecting. We talked about that, I think it was last week, but David Ornstein did officially announce that United have made Christopher Vivel's position at the club permanent. He is the permanent director of recruitment, signed a multi-year deal, reduced wages, and he wants to play a key role in our recruitment over a long-term process. He's going to be in charge of global recruitment, scouting structure, emerging talent, exactly what I like to see. We've talked about it before. Vivel comes from the Red Bull Group, which is renowned for its recruitment, its team building, its scouting, its structure, its talent identification. Obviously, Ralph Ragnick came from there as well. I wish Ralph Ragnick were still here, but alas. But the news broke this morning. We did talk a little bit about that last week, as it was highly assumed that was going to happen with the sacking of Dan Ashworth and everything. So glad to see that. Let me know what you guys think. Are you excited about that? He did have a hand in some of these deals, some of the Sekou Kone and whatnot had his fingerprints kind of all over that. So I'm excited. You guys know I'm a little bit of a scout nerd, a little bit of recruitment. I do like actual scouting at clubs, not just a let's sign the big name, let's sign the obvious player. Obviously, you need those kind of players as well, right? You need experience, you need quality, but I do think we need to build. There's a difference, like I said, between building and buying, and right now we need to build so we can get to that place where we can buy. We need to find some lesser known players. It's going to be a little bit of the Arsenal. It's going to be a little bit of Arsenal mixed with a little bit of like how Brighton do things, I think, for a couple of years. And honestly, that's what it needs to be. We need to do a mixture of building. We need to do it's weird to compare yourself to Arsenal, but it's the best example I can give. Building a little bit, bringing in some young players, having a couple of years where you're going to be exciting, you're going to play. There's still going to be growing pains. There's still going to be learning curve. And then as you go, you get in some of the older players, like the Mikel Merino kind of guys as well. So you guys let me know your thoughts on that. Let's dive into this match preview. Please like the video if you haven't yet. Subscribe if you are new. Starting with Ipswich. Let me get some water. Y'all, the weather. It's so warm out today. My sinuses are killing me. But so is my throat. So Ipswich. Ipswich managed a 1-1 draw against us in one of Amorim's. I think it was his first game as United manager, but it's been a tough time for them pretty much overall this season. Like I said, they're second from bottom, just 3 wins and 17 points this season. Their only wins in recent weeks have been against lower league sides in cup ties. Recent draw against Villa was actually a pretty big result, but then they turned around and got a 4-1 loss against Spurs, which was rough for them. Before that Villa result, they were on a four game losing streak. And their last win ahead of that was a shock result against Chelsea, and that was like a month and a half ago, almost 2 months ago, really. So, needless to say, some of that shine from Kieran McKenna's CV that we saw last year and then the year before, obviously coming to back-to-back promotions. He was being touted for a United job, being touted for a Chelsea job. Decided to stick around at Ipswich. Some of that shine is removed. I mean, it was always going to be a test. I said when we were linked with him, I like the way he plays football. I like the way Ipswich look. You guys know I'm a big fan of like Leif Davis and whatnot. I've been a fan of his since last season, but I need to see how McKenna did in the Premier League, and so far it's not looking great. As far as what you can expect to see from Ipswich, it's kind of what you can expect to see from the lower sides. They know how to do what they need to do. They don't really like possession. Kind of like Everton, they rely on those counterattacks. They get the ball wide, so the problem is this is what you see from these sides when they come up. So if you look at what Ipswich were doing in League One, it was very different. They were dominant. They wanted the ball, 60% average possession when they were in League One. As they get up to a harder league, Championship, that dipped down to 50% average possession last year in the Championship. They did a lot of counterattack, a lot of wide play, getting those fullbacks involved. Leif Davis was breaking records for assists in the Championship last season from that left back position. This year, it's dropped even further. They're averaging just 40% possession, which is 18th in the league right now for average possession. So it does seem a little like what you can expect. McKenna basically decided early on that counterattacking was his best shot at just maximizing what they can get out of this season, trying their best to avoid relegation. It's not really going his way, though. They're bottom of the table for XG. They're 18th for shots on target, second bottom for big chances. They've lost by more than three or more goals 6 times this season. Like I said, most recently against Spurs. Still, they can be a handful. They can cause you problems. They play fast. They play direct. They play high energy intensity. Those are exactly the kind of things we struggle with. They get that ball wide. They're not afraid to take shots from long range, something we saw in Amorim's first game in charge when that late winner from Hutchinson totally just took all the life out of that first match. And then they still have those players that can cause problems like most clubs do. They could be without a couple of players. They could be without Calvin Phillips, Jens Kashust, who is, I think, on loan, who's actually a really, really good player. Big up, Danny. Good to see you, man. Did you see the news, Danny? We started with it that Christopher Ravel, his position was made permanent today. So I like the news. I know you're all about that life. You and I are both like this when it comes to that scouting structure. So I did see that, but that is big news, and it's good news, hopefully. We thought it was good news with Dan Ashworth, and we all saw how that fucking thing worked out. But big up, pal. Good to see you. Yeah, so Calvin Phillips out. Jans Kashust is out. They were subbed off against Spurs. They're going to undergo scans, but it does look like they'll probably miss out. Ipswich are probably going to be without Enciso, Ogbene, Burns, Walton, Chaplin as well. So a little injury issues. Enciso is a big miss for them. They are going to miss his energy. But what they have available still is who we need to really look out for. Obviously, Liam Delap. Someone you got to look out for. His movement in that kind of half space, making those late runs, that could cause a lot of problems. We saw our defenders have so much trouble against the movement of attackers recently, whether that's Spurs, whether that's Everton, Crystal Palace. We just struggle with all that movement going on. Nobody knows who to pick up, who to let go. Everyone's kind of static, and the opponent's just having kind of free reign in the box. He's got 10 goals, 2 assists. He is their main outlet when they hit those long balls. He's good at it. He's excellent at keeping hold of the ball. He's a elbows up kind of attacker where he's going to shield the ball. He's going to do a really good job. He just seems like he's old school, and I'm here for it. I like Liam Delap a lot. Schmodix was a shrewd piece of business, I thought, in the summer. He was so good for Blackburn. Good experience. Clark, he is doing really well. That was a good pickup for them. 2 goals and an assist in their cup match against Coventry for Clark. So, and of course, Leif Davis, always a threat from that left wing back role. He hasn't quite replicated his output from last year, but it is a big jump to come from the Championship to the Premier League. I was hoping to see a little more from him, because even to dip down, even half of what he was doing in terms of assists, he should be meeting that, but he's not. So it is what it is. I think that he's one of those kind of like Andrew Robinson. I think will probably get picked up if they buy a Premier League club. if Ipswich do go down. So I could easily see, like, if Wolves or Bournemouth lose Kirk Hayes, or if Wolves lose like 8-0, I could easily see someone like that going for Leif Davis. Maybe Newcastle as well. Amari Hutchinson, again, scored that worldie against us in November for Amorim's first match. So, and then, of course, with the injuries, we could also be set for an Axel Tuanzebe reunion. Like I said, we all remember that night in Paris. It's too bad that just the injuries and whatnot. He had that brilliant match against PSG, locked Mbappe up in a spliff, and then just we never saw him again. It is what it is. Then he says, "Yeah, I just heard before I came on. Good appointment." Yeah, it is a good appointment, Vivell. I think he represents what it makes me feel a little bad because he's younger than me, and it always makes me feel rough. But it is what it is. I'm old though, so. As far as United team news, Mizraoui, we're still waiting on the fitness. Has anyone seen anything from Mizraoui's knee? I read that they were supposed to be doing a scan or something yesterday. I haven't seen any results from that, but Amorim did say in the presser that nobody who was injured for the last match has really recovered. So team pretty much is same as who we saw available against Everton. Still no Bayindir and whatnot, which is kind of a bummer. I was really hoping to see Bayindir. I'm getting really, really tired of Onana. But again, as far as Ipswich go, they play pretty much the same as like we saw against Everton, minus a little bit of the efficiency, I would guess, from that high press, because it's not something that they're used to. It's something that McKenna's tried to introduce, but they're not quite as efficient at it as other teams. But still, they're trying. They're likely to press. They're just not going to be as, I think, effective at it. But it's still something that always tends to cause us problems, no matter who you are. So be prepared for that. McKenna would be wise again to utilize it though, because even if it is half as efficient as other clubs, it's probably still going to cause us to shit the bed. But like we showed against sides who are able to play out from the back, like remember how wide open our midfield was, how easy it was to bypass our press when Ten Hag was trying. That's what we need to try to do. We need to move the ball a little quicker. We need to beat that press, give ourselves some space to work with, some room to breathe in that middle third area, and then we can kind of it's getting it out of our third that's been the issue, and it's because of this efficient, energetic press from these other sides. We need to learn to beat the press by not shitting ourselves. We need to move the ball quick and stop sitting on it, sitting on it. Someone needs to offer some movement. Someone needs to get forward. It's going to be a test to see if you can get this current United squad to do that, or if it's something we're just not going to be able to see until we get a few more technical players in the side, maybe better players. It's anyone's guess, but that's how you need to beat that. How did you guys like to see us line up for this one? Does Cheeto start? Does Aiden Heaven get a start? Any other youngsters you guys see? I mean, we might have a better idea of which youngsters are involved when that lineup for the FD tonight's National League Cup match, because that's the under 21s tonight. That is kicking off in an hour, so we'll get a better idea if anybody is going to be joining us. Heaven played in the last Resi's match, so we'll see if he's ready. But when that's announced, that'll give us a good idea because they're not going to play, consecutive days. So would you like to see youngsters, or would you like to see us go strong and try to just secure 3 points? Because we do need 3 points. It's I don't see any point right now being a sure thing. It's going to be rough. AA says, "Hi, Sean. AA is back. You are back. I've been away since our FA Cup final win, the end of the season under Ten Hag. A lot has happened since then. A lot has happened. Good to have you back. Good to see you, man. How have you been?" Then he says, "Drop cast for Garnacho, play Bruno in the 8. So Ugarte, Bruno, says Danny, in that pivot, and no Garnacho. So you want give Hoyland one more chance. So it's pretty much the side that I would have put is pretty much the same side I had for Everton. Let me put it up on the screen here while we're here, because like I said, it's pretty much going to be unchanged. So oops. Sorry, computers, guys. Just trying to get this back on the screen. There we go. The mouse pad on my new laptop is so sensitive that if I just tap it a little bit, it minimizes everything. So Danny, you're thinking maybe put Bruno in the 8, kind of basically the same as what we've been seeing, right? So Cass gone, Ugarte, Bruno dropping a little deeper, Garnacho, Xerxes, Hoyland, Dorgu, Dallo, Delit. I mean, the defense is probably the only thing where people might deviate. I could see an argument for maybe starting Euro over Mazraoui. Mazraoui's looked a little tired, but he didn't have a bad game. And Euro is obviously getting back to, I think he was ill. So, but this is pretty much what we saw the other day. Um, yeah, Danny says drop slab for Euro. Yeah, I think the only reason again that I might want Maguire to start is that he's so good at winning those long balls. He's so good at winning those aerial duels and kind of keeping those from. The problem is if Ipswich win that first ball, it's the run after, it's the second ball, it's the runner that's going to pick it up that's going to cause the problem. So if Maguire's going to start, then Maguire's got to know your job is when they play those long balls, you need to get rid of them. Defenders, if they go around the channels, get rid of it. Euro struggled with those balls in the channel before. He doesn't really quite know what to do with them. Someone just needs to tell him, just get rid of it. We'll take the throw and it's fine. It's not, teams usually struggle to keep possession of a throw, and so just when those balls come around, just get rid of them. We don't care where they go. AA says, "How you been? Hope you're doing well." There is a lot to catch up on, man. We've got a lot of videos, obviously, since the FA Cup final. There's been a ton. We just did a video this morning with a news roundup. I put a poll out this morning too, having you guys kind of get some input in my FC25 career mode and what positions I should prioritize for my summer window. AA says, "I like that lineup. Probably drop Slab for Euro 2. Yeah, if we're going to drop Maguire, you would definitely have to put Delit in the center role, because we need someone who's got physicality to come in and handle those initial balls, and then we need the quicker center backs to take care of those second balls and those runners that are going to try to grab those second balls." And it says no tempo with Slab. Delit can deal with long balls. Yeah, and that's fine. And you're getting to a point where some of these center backs are going to have jobs, but what we need in that back line more than anything is leadership. I know people are like, we need pace and stuff. Pace is helpful, but we need leadership. We need initiative. We need just that mentality. And that's always been my biggest criticism of Maguire. I don't care if you're slow. You can't really fix being slow. It is what it is. It's just, if you're slow, then your manager should probably not rely on you for certain situations. I can't make Maguire faster, but what Maguire needs is mentality. He needs to attack these balls. He needs to not jump on the back foot. He needs to communicate. He needs to organize. He needs to take. Now, he does, despite what you might think, he's actually pretty good when he's got time and space. We've seen him make those bombing runs time and time again, and he's got a good pass on him when he gets time and space in the ball. He just, against the press, he just doesn't have it. So, again, I could just easily see someone. I didn't really take the time to pick a lineup. This is literally the lineup that I predicted for the last match, or that I wanted for the last match, but I went with what Danny said in terms of dropping Casemiro and just put this up here because it was pretty much the same. But that's pretty much it. So nobody's wanting to start any youngsters, huh? I'm surprised. I'm surprised more of you haven't wanted to do that, but I think we need to get the wins, and then we can bring the youngsters on if we need to. Because it really is win or bust right now. If there's any shred of truth in the rumors we discussed this morning that Amorim is on thin ice, he has to get a result tomorrow. He just has to. He can't not. We can't drop points against Ipswich. We've already done it once, and you forgive him in that first match. It was his first match in charge. It took a worldie in the 90th minute from Hutchinson. That really, what can Amorim do about that? I'm giving Amorim time. I know a lot of you are as well, but I'm also way more patient than a lot of the fan base. I'm probably way more patient than Ineos, and I think I'm way more patient than just modern football allows people to be. It doesn't suffer losing runs for very long. You have to find a way to get a result. That manage is a verb. We've said this many times. With that being said, how do you see this one going? I know I called the 2-2 against Everton ahead of that one. I'm going to call it 2-1 United win, but just, and I mean just, not convincing. First half's going to probably suck. It's probably going to take a moment of brilliance to wake us up, like Everton, and then maybe like a late winner from a corner or a set piece or something. Like Casemiro comes on as a sub, we get a free kick, and then he just gets on the end of it and like toe pokes it in or something. I see a 2-1 win. I don't see it being pretty. I don't see it being convincing, and I don't see it being a sign of things to come. But I could be wrong. At this point, I'm sure Amorim will take what he can get. I know I will. I know a lot of us will. So what are you guys saying here? AA says, any idea when Altai Binder is back from injury, guys? I'm losing faith. I've lost faith in Onana. You're back for the first time in a while, AA. I've said it for the last couple matches. I'm done with Onana. If Saudi club or any other club came in with like 20, 25 million offer, bite your hand off, run. I would even not even buy a keeper. I would stick with Vitek. I would stick with Binder for a year, let those two fight it out, and then I'd make one of them the number one. I don't care. I'm done with Onana. The guy is probably the weakest mentality in this entire squad, and that's just the way it is. He's glued to his line. He doesn't come out and do. He doesn't command his area. He can't make a save to save his life. He spills these shots back into the danger zone time and time again, which has literally cost us matches because he's done that. But I think Binder is not ready for this one for sure. Probably going to see Harrison on the bench. Danny says, I nearly prefer Camison over Dallo, but I can't throw the kid into the fire. Yeah, I'm done with Dallo too. I mean, he's just, and I think in certain systems he could do well. He could go to Real Madrid and probably do just fine in that system. Go to Atletico and probably do just fine at that system too. But Lionheart's big up, man. Good to see you. Yeah, if you're just joining us, I did predict the 2-1 United win. Dylan, welcome, man. How are you? First half is going to be a slog. They'll pick it up in the second. We'll see. I'm just tired of it being second half. I'm tired of us just waiting until we score, waiting till the second half to remember that we're in a match. Like we need to start that way. It's really getting on my nerves. It should not have to, like Ruben Amorim shouldn't have to go in the hair dye treatment every single halftime for us to do something. It's so annoying. That's a lack of mentality. It's a lack of resilience. Delap with the Ipswich goal. Yeah. It says, I definitely bring Cheeto off the bench, but I hope Amorim gives him at least 25, 30 minutes to see what he can do. Højlund just isn't delivering for us at the moment. Yeah, Højlund is in a bad run of form. And I think this been a frustration for me with the fan base because so many people are just writing him off already. There's a difference between being a bad player and playing badly. And form is temporary. Højlund was our top scorer last year. He had one of the best conversion rates in Europe last year. And we've all seen it. I mean, everybody in this club is struggling right now. I don't know why we're just picking on Højlund, but I think people need to remember that this stuff's temporary. But I agree that he's struggling. I agree that we should be in a position right now where we shouldn't have to be relying on a guy who just turned 22, and especially if they're struggling and they're still learning a lot of aspects of their game. We should have an older or even another quality option that we can bring on. Højlund should be the one coming on for 25, 30 minutes right now. And slowly easing into things. It's just not the way it is because we couldn't afford another striker. AA says Rasmus playing 90 minutes every game and not having impact is frustrating. Give a huge chunk of those minutes to Cheeto. Trust the youth. Well, Cheeto did get a fair bit of time the other day. He had some good touches. So we'll see. Maybe that was enough to convince Amorim to give him a start. So, but again, I'm predicting a 2-1 United win, but I don't think it's going to be pretty. I think it's going to be a struggle. But we'll see what happens. But you guys get your thoughts in, get your predictions in. Let me know what you think, what your lineups, who you want to see. Are you excited about Christopher Vivell being made a permanent addition to the structure? Go back and watch this morning's video. Look at some news as well. And then the kids do kick off in a little less than an hour in the National League Cup. They play Sutton United, and that is on MUTV. So if you do have MUTV, you can go watch that as well. I will be doing that first half, and then I'll be switching over to watch Middlesbrough because you guys know I am on permanent Hayden Hackney watch if you guys are new to the channel, but it's going to be on. Danny V says, do you think Cheeto might start? I honestly, I don't know. It's a question. Like, those are two very different questions. Like, do I think he will or do I want him to, are very different questions. Let me think. Let me see what you guys think. I don't think he will start. If I had to answer right now, doesn't mean I don't know if he should at the moment, because if Højlund shouldn't really be starting week in, week out, I don't think Cheeto would. But again, we shouldn't be in a situation right now where we should be asking this. We should be in a situation where against Ipswich, we should, and no offense, but we should be in a situation, all things being equal, where we can say, yeah, Cheeto starts this one. Kone starts this one. Camison starts this one. Morehouse starts this one. Heaven starts this one. We should be at a place where we should be doing that. We're just not. And so it was the same with the Europa League. We should have been in a place in the Europa League where we should have had a dead rubber at the end where we could have started a bunch of kids. but we're not. And it's one of those things where you weigh the cost benefit and you see if it's worth it. And again, these are the decisions that managers have to make. So, Leonard says, I think Ipswich are going to Old Trafford fully believing that they're leaving with the 3 points, a team in relegation battle, confident in OT. Yeah, and that's where we are. And that's why I said it's context. And it's like, it's hard because I want to say start Cheeto. I just don't think we can. AA says, Sean, did you say you're on permanent Middlesbrough watch? I'm on permanent Hayden Hackney watch. There's a difference. He plays for Middlesbrough, but he is a player we've been linked with recently in the last summer. He's a player I think will be perfect at United. So I'm on permanent Hayden Hackney watch because there's nothing you can do. I already know the guy is an excellent player. I just enjoy watching him play because he's exactly the kind of midfielder we need right now. Same with Jashari at Club Brugge. I just did that mini scout report on him yesterday. You guys can go watch that as well. And then if you have players, though, AA, go check out my poll. Get involved in that. Make some suggestions. Who should I sign going into the summer on FC25? So Lionheart says he's going to go with Cass and Ugarte again, I think. Well, we will see. I mean, he might. Maybe that's his way of kind of shoring things up. Cass does have a bit of a pass on him. Casemiro did win the most duels. He won like 11 duels the other day. So the problem is he just has no mobility. He can't track back. And you can get away with that a little bit as a center back when you've got partners. But when you're in a midfield double pivot, just two, it's a little difficult, especially with how easily teams can play through that midfield. It's not a good look. So we will see what happens. But you guys let me know what your predictions are. I threw that poll up there real quick just to see what you guys are thinking. So 100% of you do not think Cheeto will start. So interesting. So we'll see. It's likely going to be similar to what we saw against Everton because that's probably the strongest we can put out at the moment, and you really just have to start strong and then maybe make some changes. That's usually how I do things anyway, but you guys let me know. Get involved in the comments. If you weren't able to catch the live, please like the video. Please subscribe to the channel if you are new. Check out the memberships to get involved. Dylan, I'm going to get at you about maybe scheduling a time to do that special stream that you wanted to get involved with, so I'll hit you up, man. Hope you're enjoying your day at school, slacking. Supposed to be teaching. You're out here watching YouTube. But in any case, thank you for joining, guys. Get involved in the comments as well. I will see you guys maybe tomorrow evening, probably Thursday, though, to react to the match. But until then, go watch the youngsters. They kick off in about 45 minutes. Then if you guys are on Hayden Hackney watch, go check him out as well. AA says, I think he'll bench Casemiro would start Ugarte because Ipswich are a team that run a lot. Good deal. Dylan says, kids don't need me. Yes. American education system. No, I love you, Dylan. All right, guys, take it easy. Thanks for stopping by. I will see you guys on the next one. Enjoy the rest of your day. Later. AA, good to see you again, man.